Now, first, I would like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, as well as Happy Holidays. And as at the end of every year, it will be time to do a little compilation of some of the more memorable, funny moments in the game that I've experienced at least. I can't believe that it's going to be my 6th year playing this game if I count the original alpha test back in 2019, 2018, around that time. But yeah, 6 years. That's how long my journey in this game lasted up until this moment. And well, the 7th year is also approaching, but 2025 might be interesting for the game. We will see what will happen, of course. Could be, well, not could be. There is definitely a lot of surprises up ahead in this year. But with that being said, this is going to be quite a long video, as usual. Around this time of the year, I usually make a compilation like this around the end of December of every year since I started the game. But as always, grab some popcorn, grab a drink, whatever you like to drink or eat while watching a movie or something, and lay back, enjoy. And as always, I will see you in 2025. CNC carry is a CNC kill, and I'm not going to complain at all. I had that voice in the back of my head telling me that the ships will start popping in here often after their price tag comes down, and that's exactly what had happened. Kind of bad luck when you think about it, that they decide to pass when the market value, or should I say when their kill value is much lower than it used to be. But you know, it doesn't matter, it's still a decent kill. But how did we kill it? Well, you're about to see how we got this, and this happened totally random. We just decided to set up a bubble after like more than a week of not bubbling, and well, we got rewarded by a carrier. Now, when I first saw this thing on my alt screen, I couldn't personally believe it. I thought that I left my alt in high sec, to be honest, but nope, it wasn't high sec. And yeah, there you have it, a CNC carrier. At first I actually thought that they tried to burn back to the gate. With my alt, when I looked at it, it did warp sideways. These things can drift while warping, which is kind of funny. But at first I thought that this thing was headed for the gate. It's not headed for the gate. This thing is kind of sleepy at the moment. And we did also have a friend available for a dreadnought. The dreadnought is in position. I have a point, and usually to hold these ships. Now I did look at the CN to see if they have a golden nano core. I don't know if they have a golden nano core. I just assume that they have, that they're, you know, it's possible to get that. And if you have a golden nano core, you can stack stabs. That would show me if they have stabs or not. I don't think that the ship has stabs. Didn't look like they have a core equipped, so it shouldn't be a problem to hold the ship. If they kill the poor bubble, I can hold the CN carrier on my own. And of course I can tank. Tanking this thing is not a big problem with the Tempest. Now just look at the shields of the CN carrier. Just pay attention on the hit points on that thing. It's about half shield now, and you know, we're still shooting at it. We passed the half shield mark, about 49%, and dropping. We're doing some good damage to it, but just keep an eye on the boom. There we go. That was a huge hit. That dreadnought deleted the whole shield and armor in one slap. And we're just waiting for the next slap. The cycle is about to happen. There we go. Beautiful. Well, enjoy the fireworks. CNC carrier has been wrecked. Oh, that's a beautiful explosion. As I like to say, big ships, big boats make big pretty explosions. Well, that's definitely some nice firework. The CNC here does have a very unique hull and does have a unique wreck as well, as we can see here. Now let's take a look at the build. As expected, I mean, as we already seen, this is a PvE CNC here. I believe that the pilot was traveling from high-sec to a different high-sec. I think they were trying to get to Aridia or somewhere towards Fontaine, that low-sec, high-sec region nearby. Kind of forgot the exact name of the region, but I think they have been headed towards that spot, since that position over there can be very interesting loot-wise. I've been there a couple times and it's very good. But that was a good kill. That was a good one. That was a good one for sure. Anyway, I screenshotted the wreck because it looked good. I thought it looked good. But yeah, that's how we nailed this ship, and that's how you lose 330 billion in less than 5 minutes. That's a big loss. Could have been a larger loss if the price of the ship stood the same as it used to be, but you know, outside my home, I was doing something in the garden, and on the phone I saw a ping, and one of my friends said hubris tackled. Now, it took me a moment to actually realize what a hubris was. I first thought it was one of those new battleships, but then it clicked in my head. It's a Lancer dreadnought. So active. Yeah, I basically ran inside, almost tripped and fell down the stairs while doing that, and well, grabbed the first ship I have seen, which was a bomber. Actually, a smart decision that they took a bomber. And well, I came to see what's happening, and there is the hubris. There is the hubris. The hubris actually has a criminal timer, which is very interesting. And well, I'm just going to orbit at about 20 kilometers. I have dampeners, so yeah, if they start to lock me on, I'll just cloak and decloak. Nothing much they can do about that. The hubris was already in low armor when I joined. It was actually a battle ongoing here for quite a while, but I was just a bit late to it. And there is a very interesting story that goes along with what happened to the hubris here. They originally were doing one of those capital anomalies. They got caught inside, they left, and I don't know where they got the timer exactly, but obviously they did aggro, and the second they did aggro, that's where they have sealed their fate, because we all have been waiting for such an opportunity for a very long time, and finally such a opportunity showed itself, and there goes the hubris. Let's enjoy the beautiful firework of a big boat. There we go. Nice and beautiful. Well, there goes a Lancer. Hubris actually has a bonus on fighters, so definitely not a easy ship to find, but I mean, I guess the ship found us in the end. And there's the wreck. Let's take a closer look at the wreck. There we go. Well, that's going to be the thumbnail, I think. Yeah, that's definitely going to be the thumbnail. I also love how the ship still has lights inside, even though it's like destroyed, but yeah. Oh, how much was the kill value? Let's see, there's the There's the 130 billion. Did it have blasters? One armor repairer. Well, not exactly a bad build, but not a good one at the same time. One repairer. If they had more repairs, I think they were AFK actually. Didn't seem like they have been repairing, but at the same time they had a criminal timer. Kinda funny. But yeah, it happened. It definitely happened, and I was very glad that I managed to log in on time. Well, not exactly on time, but you know, a little bit late, but would definitely suck if I missed this. Thankfully, I didn't. So yeah, I mean, things like this can happen. Just like how a super capital warped to a station with criminal timer a couple weeks ago. And now a Lancer also got yeeted. I could have taken a Macario or something similar, but I didn't really have a tanky ship at my disposal here. So I took a bomber. I mean, a tackled hubris definitely about to create some, you know, some traffic. And also was a chance that it could take a micro warfare from my other ships, but that would eat way too much time, and I don't want to leave my friend alone out there. So the thing that I did down the road, I took the RBS you're about to see. Now, when I look back at what's been happening here, I feel kind of bad that I only had an RB out for this job, because I really wanted to eat a navy into this. I've been waiting for something like this for ages actually, and the moment I get the chance to do something like this, well, I lack a module. So yeah. Now, I'm with the RB here. My friend is tanking them really well. I'm trying to figure out who should be... I think I'll just go after the Slash Interceptor. That should be... I think the Slash Interceptor is holding points. So yeah, that thing needs to be killed first. I'll go after the Interceptor. My friend is, I think, yeah, holding really well. So I'll just go after the Interceptor, and then the Raven would be the second. There's also a Rattlesnake somewhere. Okay, I'm going to engage the Interceptor. Pointed. The Raven will be the next one. My drones will probably do a good job with the... or short work on the Interceptor. There we go. Okay, now on to the Raven. Now, I don't know what weapons the Raven is using. Based on the effect, this does look like rapid missiles. Although I'm not entirely sure what weapon they have, and of course I have the wrong disruptor weapons. Should have been guidance disruptors, but you know, this will work. Hopefully this will work the same way. Well, it won't, but if they had any turret ships, it would definitely be more useful, I guess. But you know, better than nothing. At least I can put some DPS on the target with the drones. I'm orbiting at long distance. All of my drones should have enough range. Yeah, they have enough range. My missiles don't have range, but you know, this is a drone boat. Most of the DPS is from the, well, obviously from the drones. After all, this is a RB that we're talking about here. So, and yeah, there we go. Raven destroyed. So we had a Stratius, we had two Stratius cruisers, one Interceptor, and we had one Raven Striker. All have been wiped out. By the time I landed, the Stratius cruisers have been wiped out, and I also did crash mid-warp, because reasons, I guess. The game does that. When I'm rushing somewhere, the game puts every single obstacle that you can imagine, just so I can arrive as late as possible. And that kind of made me angry at this moment, because I was very late. Not too late, but you know, still quite late. So, and you would think, well, that's it. It isn't. Rattlesnake returned. And In a moment I'll be warping back as well. Here I'll just quickly click on the kills here. Now at the moment I didn't really notice that we didn't really know that the rattlesnake would basically return, but they did return. And I will be... Now, at this moment, I actually thought to change my...
Warp drive active.
My build. I really wanted to do the right thing here and take a battleship out, but believe it or not, I just decided, well, let's just yeet. Let's just yeet with what I have here.
Warp drive active.
And in this case, it's just the RB. Now, I trust the RB. It's a it is a very interesting ship. I love it. Been using it for a while. One of my signature ships. And in this moment here, my micro warp drive, I actually clicked on the micro warp drive the first time, but sometimes the game just decides to basically glitch out, and sometimes it doesn't really work the way I want it to work.
Warp drive active.
But that's fine. Damage control though, damage control saved me. Damage control saved lives. And I realized that today. I'm very happy that I actually got a damage control installed on this ship. Because if I did not have a damage control there, I would have been pretty much dead. But thankfully I did have one, and one of the examples why having a damage control is very important nowadays. Did not have any points on me, which is a good thing, but I managed to escape, managed to warp out. But I believe it was still some very good action in the end. Well, my apologies. I was actually fighting a rattlesnake while recording this, so I was kind of in two places at the same time. In any case, my friend that did manage to kill the rattlesnake as well as expected. So we have basically managed to clear we managed to clear everyone.
Warp drive active.
In that little fleet. We managed to wipe the whole fleet basically, which was very nice. We haven't had a fight like this in quite a while. And was definitely very fun. The RB was close to getting killed, but you know, not a big deal. It's a cheap ship after all, so I'm not really worried about the RB. Sandpoint, I mean, the kill medals have been very nice. Quite quite a juicy ships lately. The whole fleet was juicy. Stratus cruises, rattlesnakes, stuff like that. Overall, I mean, honestly, it's been awesome. It was really fun. I just wish that I had a better ship for this. Did not have the right ship prepared, and this is why I don't really like to tamper with my builds that often. Because if I tamper with one build, then yeah, I need to have a ship for every possible situation, basically. I thought I have them. Or the flying spatula has a lot of different names. Anyway, let's prepare ourselves for the first encounter for today. And as you have probably guessed by the title of this video, since I'm not losing very expensive ships that often, so definitely not my space span that's going to be yeeted. But we have a Anubis in system, and I decided to go with the space potato, with the Dominix navy, just because I have the bombarding plant, and just because this little boat slaps. Now, preferably, I actually like to use the new drones from the collaboration event. I honestly prefer those drones because they do omni damage and they can easily bypass a yellow hardener. Their DPS is not as high as the DPS that I have on the offense drones on this ship right now, but the DPS is definitely much more stable since it has omni damage
active.
and it's much easier to use the new drones, because I can just group them and keep them on the first page here, while I actually have to use 2 pages on the module layout there. I have 4 scramblers and obviously a siege mode. I actually thought to drop the siege mode for a 5th scrambler because it's an Anubis, but my friend will be in a bomber to tackle the Anubis, and let me tell you, this would not be possible without the bomber to tackle the target, since obviously there wasn't a good warping and you had to kind of stealthily approach the space span. Okay, well, siege mode is up, just to not waste the bombard on low DPS. Now I have went with everything full hot. I had disabled the siege mode to approach to scramble the space span, because the bomber can be destroyed, so
we're under
just
attack.
to make sure that the space span isn't going anywhere. And this is where I actually realized how big the space span is compared to the Dominix. Look at that thing, it's huge. Space span in hull. It's been a while since we caught a space span. Oh, this is my first Anubis actually.
We're under attack.
There we go. Big beautiful space
We're
span
under
explosion, and
attack.
the sentries, the pulsar drones dropped. Beautiful. I actually thought that they might not drop because they're event stuff, but apparently they can drop. This confirms it. Beautiful. Now I know that the space span itself, it can be quite expensive. 20 plus billion is
Warp
a
drive
space span.
active.
Now how much is a Anubis? That's the question, and let's find that out. 37.7 billion. Ouch. That's a pricey one. That's almost carrier level cost right there in that kill mail. How much is a carrier nowadays? Like 45 billion or something like that, so pretty close to a carrier. I'll take it. That's a pretty juicy one. That's definitely a pretty juicy one, and the loot's been okay as well. That's actually more loot in my cargo than I have in wallet right now.
Undocking.
And that's hilarious when you think about it. Anyway, let's go. And 20,000 in armor on this thing. But let's go to the first target. We have a freighter. Now, this is not the first freighter that was around this system here. We destroyed, I think, like 4 or 5 already here. It doesn't happen that often, but when it does happen, it happens. And I jokingly say 1 or 2 per year. This would be the second freighter of the year that came through this little region of space. And while I was actually lucky enough to be on time here, because I was in a different system before all this happened. It just so happened that I traveled just to pick some things up, and who would have thought? I hear freighter in comms, and well, as anyone would do, jump in a combat ship and go straight to action. Now, there is always a chance that the freighter can be a bait. After all, that's always a possibility with how many super capitals are floating around. And there is the freighter, nice and bubbled. I'll be caught in the bubble, which is fine. Actually works in my favor since I am a long-range build. I usually use this with railguns, with the long-range rifle railguns. And there's the freighter already in half shield. Let's add a bit distance. One of the rare occasions where I actually keep the implant for DPS. I have the thermal circulation implant. Freighter seems to be, I think, moving towards the low security gate. Let's see, Charon. Okay, Balgorn joined the party. Could be empty, could be full, you never know. In any case, it's always nice to catch a freighter. You know what, let me just align myself towards the gate, just in case a Sino pops up, because if there is something valuable inside, I would expect a Sino to be open in case this freighter is carrying something valuable. So if we see Sino, I'm out. Of course, I have to also keep in mind that I have the Basti module that I'll have to turn off. I keep the Basti module on in case, you know, just for extra tracking, but I don't think I'll need that. And we have 2 more in local that jumped in. Could be the same corporation. The Charon is, oh, that's a friendly Dominix. Okay, that works. And the Harvey popped in. Okay, is this going to be a I'm always ready for a sign-up. Okay, the RB is not opening sign-ups so far. Let's lock on the RB. Yeah, they're all the same corporation. There's one more neutral in local that is not visible. Okay, that Charon is pretty much, yep, yeeted. There we go, beautiful. There we go, Charon destroyed. Let's go after the RB. Not to the friendly RB. Let's go after the other neutral RB. There's actually 2 neutral RBs. One is friendly, and one isn't. Now the RB is a very fast little ship, and I'm using long-range rifled railguns, so I don't really expect to hit the RB, but you never know. I'll just keep shooting. No Sino yet though. That's interesting. So I guess that RB is no Sino RB. That's an RB3. Yeah, that's definitely not a Sino. No one would use a RB3 for a Sino. Well, I'll just keep aligning myself to the gate. The other neutral did not show up, and the RB warped somewhere. Well, that's how this little encounter ended. I don't know what the third ship, third pilot was flying. I would suggest it was also a cover tops, but they did not show themselves, so we never know what they are flying. And there's the Charon wreck. Lovely, nice work, and nice catch. And also, I was kind of lucky to appear on the right moment as well. Okay, well, time for me to
Warp drive active.
warp. Let's take a look at the Charon. 17.9 billion, not bad. Well, I mean, it's empty, unfortunately. It would be lovely if it was full, but it was empty, which is fine. Nonetheless, still a good catch. Doesn't happen that often that a freighter just pops out of nowhere, as I said before. 1 or 2 per year. That's how many freighters we usually see here. 1 or 2 per year that we catch. Maybe more, maybe that's the estimated number, but that's how many freighters we do see per year usually. The two ships, the freighter allies, or I think they're the same corporation actually, they're still in the system. Ship to be a bait, super chunk, kind of a mini dreadnought. After all, I already have the nanocore for it, which is gold, as you can see. The repair nanocore, the rare Burning Knight nanocore, which is, I would say, one of the best nanocores for tanking, and luckily I did pick the nanocore for the Hyperion. At the time was probably the best I could pick. I wish I had more boxes, but I'm not going to be too greedy, and I will be happy with what I have on the Hyperion. Now, this thing has 3 repairs. It's capacitor stable without Nosferatus. Now it should be capacitor stable with no Nosferatus, but I still have the Nosferatus just in case I needed them. Now, when I built this, I did have various different builds in mind, especially the DPS builds, but there is one implant, for example, that I didn't really pay much attention to, and I think it was the support projection. The support projection basically is able to disable your, it's capable of disabling your modules, which can be very annoying, and if you're not paying attention, the implant can be quite lethal if you don't have
We're under
a lot of
attack.
base resistance stats. Yeah, it can be quite the interesting thing to encounter. And well, we
We're
have
under
a
attack.
Typhoon 2 fleet now. The Typhoon
We're
2 is one of
under
my
attack.
favorite ships. I love that ship. It's very fast. It has one of the best damage replication when it comes to missiles in the game. I think only surpassed by the Anubis and the Barghest when it comes to application, but compared to the Anubis or the Barghest, it costs a lot less, and it does give just a little bit less application stat-wise compared to the other more expensive ships. And well, yeah, I'm obviously the primary target, because why would it be different? And here we see the support projection at work. Now, I honestly forgot how much tank this thing can do. I think I'm able to repair like 25,000 armor every 5 seconds with the armor repairs or something close to that. And in the previous encounters that I've had, I needed only 1 armor repair to basically tank a bunch of ships. Now, I'm using all 3 repairs because of the support projection implant, because it might disable 1, it can disable 2, but I always have 1 extra as backup. So this way the repairs will always be running, and I'll always have repair. I'm not worried about the capacitor. I'm fairly sure my capacitor is not going to be affected. I mean, I'm capacitor stable without any Nosferatus working, so
We're under
I should be
attack.
good. One Typhoon seems to
We're
be
under
the
attack.
support projection Typhoon, which would be the primary targets, but
We're
at this
under
distance
attack.
not much I can do, and I think the support projection can also disable the main guns as well, so shooting, yeah, I mean, would be pretty much pointless at this state, because too far and they would turn off my module anyway, so there is no reason to waste capacitor shooting when I can put that into the repairs, which I'm doing. And also, I would guess the other Typhoons are warhead charge or tactical missile, but since I'm not seeing the tactical missile warp or point or scramble effect, I'm fairly sure the other 4 are either with no implant or they are using the warhead charge, probably set on explosive or kinetic, which would be the hole on armor for most ships, but a joke on them, I'm actually having the best resistance on kinetic and explosive on this ship, so I'm not worried about that. Now, even without the adaptives, I'm still able to fully repair the armor, and basically this is what you would expect when you are engaged by a ship that is using the support projection implant. That implant is very effective against capitals. I mean, I would say pretty much effective against anything. After all, it's able to shut down your modules regardless of what ship you're flying. I don't have that implant myself. After all, I don't have infinite ISK available or infinite money to just buy all the implants and level them up. The recent implant I got was the defense implant, which I'm actually pretty happy with. Works really well. Extra resistance, extra web and neutralizer resistance is fantastic, especially for the ships that rely on the capacitor. Now, who will give up first? The Typhoons or the Hyperion? Well, let me tell you right away, I'm just too lazy to move, okay? I'm honestly way too lazy to go anywhere. And, well, we will stay here. I mean, I'm not gonna move. I am able to tank all that. If they shoot me, hey, that's fine with me. The crew can actually play while I'm taking the hits, as usual. I'm not really worried about that. So, I also love how in one of the recent, I think the last update actually, I remember reading the damage control, capital damage control, is no longer being disrupted by the support projection. Now, I believe that might also be applicable to the normal damage control, which is quite funny since right after that update, I'm encountering the implant, and I find it interesting. A very interesting coincidence. That's what I'm saying. Also,
We're under attack.
after I turn back the module on, there is a bug that prevents me from turning it off. So I'll have to warp to the station, dock just to shut off the modules, and then undock and return. I find that that little bug kind of distracting, but at the same time it kind of saves me more, I guess, time, because I'm looking more at what's happening in the game than I'm looking at the modules. I would just wish that the adaptive hardeners would also suffer from the same thing, but apparently it only affects the infinite cycle. Apparently only affects the boosters and armor repairs, which is I would say quite funny. Imagine if the module just bugs out and even the support projection is unable to turn it off. That would be pretty silly. I mean, maybe it actually could happen. After all, the recent engine update is, let's say, the least thing I can say about the engine update. It's weird. A lot of players have problems, me included, with the engine update or with the new engine. A lot of issues have been fixed, though. I have to, give credit where there is credit to be given. A lot of issues have been fixed, but there is a lot of other things that are not, that are still work in progress. But it's getting there. It's getting there. Which is pretty much the only thing I can complain about the engine updates, the instability. And nothing else, pretty much. Well, they are still shooting at me. I mean, As I mentioned before, I have no intentions of moving unless there is a super capital spawn, which can actually happen. You have to remember, I'm always playing the hide and seek game with super capitals. They're lurking at every corner now, and wouldn't be the first time that I had a Nyx up my rear. Happened like 4 times now, 5, I don't know, I lost count. Even in low sec I've had a Nyx dropped on me, which was pretty much funny because dropping a Nyx on a cruiser was hilarious, especially when I can just cloak and there is nothing the super carrier can do. Oh well, they are approaching us now. Did they give up? Well, seems like they did. Well, there we go. The super strong Hyperion still stands. Well, that's I actually wanted them to shoot at me a bit more. It's pretty much a test. I mean, it does give me a insight on what to change on this ship if it cracks somewhere, if it fails here. I'm not going to say the exact location, although I might go and, you know, black out the name of the system out, but I think it's pointless. But in any case, there is the Orca. Let's go after it. Good thing I have a scrambler and dual webs. I changed the build for the Orca. They have been webbed. The Orca is a slow ship. Technically, between a battleship and a capital, the Orca always was a weird classification, but in any case, they have been webbed. They are not going anywhere in any case. I love the DPS on the cells. This thing just slaps. I'm using auto cannons. Was using artillery cannons up until recently. However, is it just me or did they nerf the artillery cannons, because they started to miss a lot, and that wasn't the case before because I didn't really change the build on this ship, but it started to miss a lot with the artillery cannons. So I did go, I actually use both, but I think I might start to prefer auto cannons again. In any case, the Orca has been destroyed, and let me just orbit and let's take a look at what we caught here. Well, 2.3 billion, not bad. Not going to complain. A mining build Orca that had a lot of blueprints. Unfortunately, they did not carry the special mode, the special module, which is kind of disappointing, but you know. I also have to be careful. Actually, I don't have to be careful. I have the long range build. Okay, that will work. Well, there is the Hyperion. Perfect distance, right in the range of my points. Now I can orbit full speed, and the ship will have enough tracking if I turn on the rapid firing module. An afterburner would actually be more beneficial in this moment, although it seems the Hyperion is a little bit sleepy. Okay, let me just do a very bad thing and let me approach. Now, if the Hyperion wasn't sleeping, well, I think they are sleeping at least. I could be wrong though. You never know what's happening. But you don't want to be stationary. You don't want to approach or keep at range a battleship. I'm doing this because the Hyperion is not shooting at me back. If the Hyperion was shooting at me, I would definitely orbit, because battleship main guns were just a very fast cruiser orbiting at a fairly low distance. Yeah, the tracking will not be able to keep up with the ship. So that's where the afterburner is going to be much better, and this is why I actually like to use the dual propulsion build on this ship. Although with the dual propulsion build I sacrifice a little bit of DPS, but against battleships it works really well if they do decide to shoot back, since I can speed tank a lot of them. Of course, a Balgorn or a Vindicator might be a problem, but if they are sleeping it will not be a big deal. This Hyperion seems to be asleep, at least that's the guess. I could be wrong, I have no idea what's happening with the ship here, but they are in hull. Couple more shots and that should do the job. One more hit and there we go. One less Hyperion, I guess. And they immediately warp off because the ship was on autopilot. Okay, let me see what we have caught here. 2.7 billion. Okay, this was a long range build. Although I have to admit, this is a weird build. At least the capacity. Actually, it's not a weird build. The capacity batteries are for the neutralizers, but only one armor repairer. Not the best Hyperion build that I've seen. My Hyperions don't undock without at least 2 armor repairs. My Hyperion bomber has 3. And it has that special nanocore, the burning night nanocore with a repair bonus. Absolutely wicked on that ship. That nanocore is a bit rare. And the only reason why I even have a Hyperion is because of that nanocore. If I didn't have the nanocore,
Warp drive active.
I wouldn't be flying a Hyperion. Now we have a B-Store. Now the B-Store is a transport ship mainly used for transporting structures. So good chance that this ship might carry a pass or similar, and obviously I will give chase. Now this almost went completely wrong because I immediately thought that the ship... I actually did attempt to stop this thing from warping, but initially I thought that
Warp drive active.
they already warped because they haven't been there on the gate when they jumped in. One thing though that confused me at first, I definitely clicked on stop ship, but this thing just didn't care. It just went warping. And at this moment I kind of thought, should I yeet this tablet out the window? Am I going to miss on a very potentially very good loot drop? Because if there is something that I have gotten used to, or should I say if there is something that I became really good at smelling, is the smell of something expensive. And my nose was off the charts, screaming that this thing is going to be potentially a very valuable target. The ship might be a very valuable target. And I missed the B-Store. They went to the other gate. However, this is a Celos, it's fast. I do have a solid chance at intercepting them at a different system.
Warp
We
drive
know
active.
these systems like the back of our hand. We know every single shortcut. We pretty much know where to go, when to go, how to intercept. I'm not going to go into the details, but we've been here for a very long time, and every single system, every single corner, literally the whole region is at the back of our hands. We know all of it. So I do have a good chance to catch this transport ship, and I'm honestly very interested to see what's inside, because it's not every day that you see a B-Store, and usually nowadays when you see these ships they definitely have something inside. So spamming that jump button because the ship didn't want to jump on its own, and okay, do have a chance to, there they are, they jumped in. I have to be very fast now. I have to be landing on the gate, which is actually pretty close to this little gate here. I have to basically land and get in
Warp drive
position
active.
before they manage to warp. I do have a chance to catch them. Still have a chance. And now the moment of truth. I landed at 0. And there they are. Perfect, within range, just on time. Okay, let's approach and use the scrambler as well. Webbed, scrambled. And the beast store has been destroyed. Finally. Okay. Now initially when I opened the rack, I thought, okay, this was empty. And then I checked the kill mail. And yeah, Now let me see, what is it? I have no comments at my bad luck here. Just no word to describe the bad luck. Maybe it would drop if I caught it on time. But it's the thing I had in my mind. Maybe if I didn't miss the first time, maybe. Let's start with the first target for today. We have a chameleon, a chunky chameleon from what I've been told. And we almost missed this ship because again we have been all over the place lately, and when we start, well, the moment we started, this ship appeared. And there is the chameleon. Let's go and help out a little bit. Now I'm flying the Enforcer, not exactly the perfect built Enforcer. Again, I'm not a fan of the glass built on the ship, but lately that's all I've been using with the Enforcer. I've been trying out the missiles. I don't know if I prefer missiles more over cannons. I changed the rigs recently as well, and we will see how this thing will perform. Should be good. Now I got close. The chameleon is in low armor. It does feel like a tanky chameleon, so maybe it is chunky. We will find that out. The rapid firing module now works with missiles. That was, I guess, a recent change. Before it was only useful on turrets. Now the rapid firing module also works on missiles. Nice little change, means that I can actually use the ship in this way. However, I'm also thinking about using the defense module on this ship with this build. Could potentially be interesting, since it does add a bit more tank and... Oh, that's a pretty fat chameleon ISK-wise, cost-wise. That's an expensive one. 6 billion ISK chameleon, and also very well integrated. The chameleon is definitely no joke with a proper build. After all, has a very nice resistance bonus on the shield, and overall it is generally speaking tanky. I mean, it's a Gurista pirate ship. Large booster, large booster, integrated, heavily integrated. We also have some batteries there. So not a bad build at all. On my own chameleon, I actually did put one large battery and a large booster, and it seems to be capacitor stable in that setup. Well, let's go to the next target. We have a Dominix. I am jumping ahead to intercept Dominix. I am the tackle after all. If there is one thing this thing is good at, it's at tackling stuff. That's where the Enforcer really shines. It's a very good tackle ship. Unfortunately, it's not the fastest. If it had 80% of the Celos' speed, I would love this thing. But unfortunately, it's slow. It's definitely on the sluggish side. And when it comes to speed, definitely rivaling the speed of the Stratus, that's for sure. And the Stratus is the slowest of them all. However, I think this ship might be a little bit faster than the Stratus, at least from my experience there. Okay, Dominix has been tackled. Yeah, the Annihilator will do most of the damage as expected. But I did my job, tackle that is. So there we go, Dominix. Nice catch. Let's see the kill. Okay, not bad. Wait a second. Medium cannons. Okay. I have some questions, but I think I'm not going to be asking them because I think I know the answer to that one. Yeah, I have an afterburner. I should have taken the micro warp drive. Honestly, with this ship, I don't really know what to take. Should I take the afterburner or a micro warp drive? Might just go and slap the dual propulsion build, because if I can decide on one, I'll just take both, and that would solve the problem. We'll sacrifice a little bit of the EPS, but you know, I get extra maneuverability, so that's a thing that I can live with, I guess. We will see. Maybe not. Next, we have a incoming enforcer. Alright, next we have an incoming enforcer. There it is. Let's quickly tackle that before it cloaks. Valuable target. Oh, we have a new nanocore. Alrighty then. What was the name of this nanocore? Star something, I don't know. I don't know the names of the new nanocores in any case. But the enforcer has been tackled. These things are expensive, and that's why I like to shoot at them. They are expensive ships. Very nice. Kill males, that's for sure. I fly one, yes I do, but mine is definitely cheaper than most. And enforcer yeeted, perfect. Let's see the kill. Oh, 17.9 billion, alright. Cannons, micro warp rifle. This looks like a scanner and okay, blue and red scanner. Well, it does seem like a PvP, PvE enforcer. Not really sure what was the idea behind it. Maybe to hunt ships in exploration sites or something. Could work, definitely. But yeah, enforcer destroyed, and that's the second or third one over the last couple days, I believe, which is I would say really good. Definitely really good. There will be more, of course. There will be more on forward. They became one of my favorite targets that have been added in one of the last big updates. Cobra is basically a buffed rattlesnake, very powerful ship, fantastic shield resistance. It has a bomb launcher and potentially very, very high DPS. After all, it is a rattlesnake hull, and the rattlesnake has some very nasty drone DPS. The Cobra has more DPS, but we have our own drone boats out here, my friend, in a Cobra as well, and I'm in the Space Potato, the Dominix Navy. This is a ship that I really like to fly. I love this ship, actually, to be honest. And the Dominix Navy slaps. But let's see what happens. I also have a siege mode. I actually thought to use a 5th scrambler for the Cobra just in case, but I ended up having a siege mode just to get that extra DPS. Oh, that looks like a juicy Cobra based on the drones there. That's lovely. And we are doing some pretty good DPS on the shield. Doesn't seem like... yeah, that Cobra doesn't really seem that tanky, to be honest. Even if you don't have a good tank on the Cobra, it still has really high shield resistance stats from the bonus. So I would say the player doesn't have all the expert skills on level 5. And never fly the new ships without expert skills, because it's not going to give the full potential from the ship. Okay, well, that was beautiful. Did seem actually fairly tanky at first, well, at the end I would say, but I actually expected a lot more tank from the Cobra. After all, that ship has the potential to be extremely tanky, but but I would say the player didn't have expert skills for
Warp
the
drive
ship.
active.
That's my guess. Well, let's warp out and let's take a look at the kill here. 11.7 billion. Okay, they had a bomb launcher, rapid missiles. Wait a second, that's actually a very decent build there. 2 adaptive on reactive damage control and dual boosters, but they lacked rigs, and I would assume that they also lacked skill bonuses on the ship. That's why the ship didn't feel as tanky as it should be. That pretty much explains it. That definitely explains why the Cobra went down so quickly. Didn't have rigs. The build was good though. The build is definitely good. A good tank build. Unfortunately, the ship didn't have the right rigs to accompany the build. But if that Cobra had rigs and probably all the necessary expert skills, we would be still fighting it, because let me tell you, that thing can be very tanky. Now we have a Dominix Black Ops, or should I say Domiblops, or the Cloaky Space Potato, in the middle of nowhere, pretty much. And I decided to go with long range, since I did smell a Sino locked. Now this is where I actually thought that the Domi had stabs, and I initially thought, well, let me just go and take a different ship for this. I expected the Sino to open, but they warped to a
Warp
planet.
drive active.
So initially I thought 16 stabs, as you're about to see. So I went to the station, and then later I realized, oh, I didn't even lock on, even though it did lock. Technically should have locked, but it refused to.
Docking request accepted.
To let the points do their work. But after I realized that, obviously I would have been dead if I had timer. I went
Warp
and
drive active.
decided to give it another shot, because why not? This time it was Planet 1. And where is the Dominix? 12.7 thousand kilometers away from me. Good thing is you can actually warp to a box. So that's my warping. I still expect a Sino to open, that's why I didn't land at 0. If
Warp
I
drive
see
active.
Sino, I'm noping out. As simple as that. Okay, well, that's decent distance, 21 kilometer, perfect actually. And now let me take distance, let me take range, and let's open fire. Okay, doesn't seem tanky. If it were a Sino bait, that would be a tough Dominix to shoot down. If they were a bait, a proper bait, they would have a tanky build. We are in armor now, okay, still taking good damage, and this is where I actually started to think that this ship does not have a Sino installed inside. But they're not moving, they're just sitting there, so I'm paying close eye on the effects. If I see Sino, that would be the time for me to leave, but they are now in hull. Well, okay, that's interesting. No Sino has been opened, and the ship was just sitting there in space. One of the more odd encounters, I must say. Oh well, let's take a look at the inside of the wreck. Could be something good inside, you never know. Okay, not bad. I'll take the loot. Better than nothing. Now, the question that I've been wondering, does this ship have a Sino installed? Has a clocking device, okay, as expected from a... Oh, it does have a signer, okay.
Warp drive active.
I'm a little bit confused. Was that a sino bait, or was that ship just sitting there doing... I don't know. I have no explanations on... I have no explanation on what was this Dominix doing. Maybe they collected... My friend said that they were collecting planetary materials, but they... Well, they were at the container of the planetary material, but they didn't loot that. I should have checked that, actually. Should have picked the box myself. Oh, well, anyway. Speaking of a space potato, there is a Dominix Navy that just landed in the bubble. Now, I am in a fairly tanky ship. I'm flying the good old Hyperion bomber, or... I actually don't have a nickname for this ship, it's just a Hyperion bomber, it's just a super chunky battleship. Basically a mini dreadnought. Tank-wise, it's literally a miniature version of a dreadnought, since it's able to recover about, not exactly 50% of armor, but it's able to recover like 30% now. It was 50% before the nanocore, but with the nanocore I enhanced the overall armor volume and armor repair, but the armor volume is just so much. The large repairs still repair a lot, but yeah, unfortunately the sheer amount of armor kind of prevents me from repairing 50%. I'm close to it though, it's not too far off 50, but it's still good. However, if it were 50% armor repaired per cycle, it would be pretty wild, but I'll take it for what it is. I'm not going to complain too much, since, you know, it would be funny to complain about such a tanky ship. I kinda wish that the Dominix Navy wasn't sleeping, because I would really love to see how much damage one of these ships would do on my Hyperion, but, you know, does look like a expensive space potato, that's for sure. And the space potato is destroyed. Beautiful explosion. And nice work. Everyone came from the Dominix Navy, as expected from a juicy target. Okay, let's quickly take a look at what we have destroyed here. 12.08 billion, not bad. A DPS Dominix. PvE build siege tactical module dropped, and some of the drones dropped. Nice. That was a decent loot drop. Could have been better, but you know, I am not going to complain about the loot. Any loot is good loot. Any loot is good loot. I wish that they had predator webs, but you know, even this will be enough. I'm not going to complain. It is after all a navy ship that we have destroyed, and the navy ships, as we already know, are very, very good targets. Potentially very scary targets as well, if they are built properly. Okay, we have a incoming Gila. Tasty, good old salt. That's why I'm still playing the game. Because Eve Salt is irreplaceable. Nothing comes close to Eve Salt. There we go. Isn't that just lovely? Okay, there's the Guardian, there is the Dominix Special Ops, and let's eat the Special Ops first, or Black Ops as I like to call it. And focusing fire, that's a nasty hit. Yeah, we are going in on that Dominix. But I seem to have, I was hitting the Guardian somehow, even though my drones are within. But anyway, we are
We're under
going
attack.
at the Guardian now, and that's definitely a tanky one. But once the shield goes down, the whole ship goes down. There we go. I also love the siege on Dominic's navy. It is really good. That siege mode alone made the Dominic's navy so much more dangerous. Now let's take a look at the kill. Oh, that's a pretty good one actually,
Warp
8.1.
drive active.
Yeah, I was definitely, I think I was hitting the Guardian. I'm fairly sure I was hitting the Guardian. And yeah, they lost the implant box there. And there's the Guardian. Full tank. Not a bad build on the Guardian, that's for sure. That Guardian definitely looked tanky, but I mean, 2 battleships shooting at it inside of the bubble. Yeah, that's not going to last long. There we ooh, some tasty salt. This is what I'm talking about. Take a good old read here. I think I got my daily dose of yeah, I think I got my monthly dose of salt right here today. Oh, well, it was very nice to caught ships there. Or should I say very nice 2 kills there. Not every day that you find a Guardian like this. And let's go to the next one. We have a
Fleet war.
Apocalypse Navy. We suspect that it is a tank build. After all, it's a navy ship, and these things are usually tanky when it comes to a bait build. Also, funny enough, my ship warped first, which usually doesn't happen,
Ships
but
detected.
it happened in this case. And there is the Apocalypse Navy, a perfect warping for our Balgorns. Now my friend has webs and points. I have the electronic warfare, I have the Nosferatus and Neutralize. Basically, my friend keeps them from moving. I keep the enemy ships from having any capacitors, since the Balgorn is one of the scariest ships when it comes to capacitor warfare. And the second ship is coming in. The Apocalypse Navy is an armor tank. Okay, it's fine. I am using the micro warp drive build in this case. They do have a general unit for the Nosferatus. They do have extra sucking power, so that capacitor on that navy ship is in trouble. Now we don't know what the next ship is coming. We don't know what type of ship it is, but we definitely expect a battleship. So any moment now the second battleship will pop in. I'm taking some little damage, nothing serious, nothing major. I'm an armor tank. This thing can actually repair a lot. It is an expensive build, and a Vindicator has landed. Okay. Now I suspect that the Vindicator is using blasters, so I should be good, and my friend should be good as well, since my friend is using a lot of webs, and I also have a web. If I have to use the web, I will, but in this case we do have the advantage when it comes to range and overall speed. And capacitor warfare is definitely in our favor. But the enemy ships are definitely in trouble, because if the Balgorn is at distance, is at range, there is nothing you can do about it unless you can somehow burn towards or you have range with your weapons. The blasters don't have range, and I can tank lasers, so nothing is presenting a major threat here. The Vindicator has been webbed as well. Okay, we are controlling both of the ships and holding them in place basically, so they are unable to move anywhere. I actually thought to separate some of my Nosferatus for the Vindicator, but I figured out it would be too far away and the effect wouldn't be as great. So I kept my Nosferatus and Neutralizer on the Apocalypse. The Apocalypse has been destroyed. And now let's feast on the Vindicator. Vindicator lost the losing the shield. Usually they're not that tanky. As I said before, if the Balgorn is in good orbit, the Vindicator is not going to be in a good shape, or they simply warp off. Oh well. That's actually impressive that they managed to warp out, since my friend has a lot of points. And they still managed to warp out. That Vindicator has a lot of stabs. 7.4 billion is the value of the Apocalypse Navy. Not bad. They did reduce the IP cost and over manufacturing cost of the new ships, so that price is okay. So yeah, that was a nice little fight there. Balgorn team wins. That's what happens here. And this is why I do like this ship. This is why I still like the Balgorn, because in a fleet, yeah, I just prefer. I think I enjoy true solo like this a lot more. After all, I don't need an alt to just to catch stuff. I should be good to go in the good old-fashioned way, as I like to call it. The RB days, for example. I need to start to hunt for the low-tier ships again, because RB versus low-tier ships, that's just peak fun. Okay, let's be a bit serious now. We are warping to the Apocalypse. And let's see what happens. Am I going to be lucky enough to catch the Battleship? Should be a decent valued Apocalypse. I mean, it's a Navy ship. They are usually valued quite a lot. They're quite juicy targets. They did lose a lot of their value. They're no longer expensive as they used to, but they're still good valued kills. And you know, I like to look at juicy ships. So let's 60 kilometers. They burned away from. Okay, that actually makes sense. They're sniping and armor tank fit. Okay, well, let's approach. Let's burn, and there we go. Beam lasers, so they are long range. Now maybe I actually expect one adaptive at least, and maybe one repair, but I could be wrong. But since they're using beam lasers, if I manage to get close to it, pretty much at zero, they should be unable to hit my ship. Even though I'm a big battleship, if I manage to get close, they should still miss. After all, that's the large beam lasers don't have a lot of tracking. And they are sitting still. I was actually very confused at first. I expected them to warp away, but they didn't. Scrambled, and let's just go full DPS on the Navy. Obviously the shield will go fast since it's an armor tank. First volley of bombard finished. Let's load the bombs back in the ship.
Attack.
Bombs loaded, and let's release the beehive again. Siege mode is also active. Even rammed that thing. I love how I managed to ram the Apocalypse like that. The slowest ram I've ever seen, that's for sure. Low armor, my bombard on cooldown. Okay, drones are now on default. Alright. Well, it's a Navy, so the extra tank is kind of to be expected. But I would actually say this Navy might have more than one adaptive now. It definitely should have been blown up by the second bombard if it had only one adaptive, but I think maybe 2, maybe even 3, so not entirely a failed tank build. It seemed to have some form of tank to it. I'm taking very little shield damage, which is not to be worried about. This is, I mean, armor tank primarily, so shield is just there to be buffer. Even though I don't use it that much, I have the damage control that lasts 30 seconds, but yeah, didn't have to use it. Apocalypse Navy has been destroyed, and yeah, definitely had reactive and adaptive. Okay, glad I used different types of drones. This is why I have different types of drones, because it counters reactives really well. And let's warp off and let's see what did we catch. It's the thing that we are all curious about. 8.9, almost a 9 billion Apocalypse Navy. You know, on first glance, it looks like a good build, but did you see the micro warp drive? A medium micro warp drive. Oh no, have a slightly cursed Apocalypse Navy. I haven't seen a cursed ship in a while. Admittedly, I haven't been doing PvP that often lately, but as you can see, small micro warp drive on the Apocalypse Navy, just a little bit cursed. Everything else did, you know, seem okay-ish. Still, wouldn't be fitting the ship in this way myself. I would probably go full tank or full snipe or full DPS. I never really pick in between nowadays. Only on some certain ships, but usually I just go with my maximum DPS or tank. But yeah, nonetheless, still a I would say decent catch. Not going to complain about a nearly 9 billion ISK Apocalypse Navy. That was a good catch nonetheless. And well, with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this little short run today. Definitely looking forward to see how the other change cruisers perform, primarily the Stabber 2. I really want to fly that to see how. I have a Stabber 2 that I bought a long time ago, and I plan to see how that will work after the buff. But with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed. If you will think there, and we had some other ships as well, but they were on the gate. Well, the first target, Rattlesnake. My friend went to tackle. No, my friend's intel was a little bit wrong. They said the Rattlesnake was 30 from 0, but when I land here, you will see that it wasn't exactly 0, far away from it actually, far from 0, far from 30 actually. Far from 30, and I have no micro warp drive or afterburner. I just wanted to go full trunk on this, which is not a good idea if the target is further away. This build is good if you have an exact warping on your target. I still would say if you are hunting, have an afterburner or a micro warp drive. It's definitely much safer to have that, since if you mess up the warping you can approach. In my case, I can approach, but my approach speed is going to equal the approach speed of a snail, so yeah. So, there is the Rattlesnake. They are 40, they were having 50 kilometers away from 0, not 30 as my friend said. But they also seem to be fast. The Rattlesnake does seem to use an afterburner or a micro warp drive. And they're using ordinary drones. They also seem to have a nano core. But based on what I'm seeing, based on the way the Rattlesnake is moving, I would say they're trying to orbit around the RB, but that's not going to work since the RB is much faster, and obviously you are not going to be outmaneuvering a RB with a Battleship, even if you have a micro warp drive. So I'll use the same trick I used last time with the Balgorn, which honestly is a trick that works when you're fighting with a inexperienced pilot that doesn't know all the tricks, and they just orbit, and they basically go towards your ship eventually. They approach you, you don't approach them, and they do that without realizing it. So that's kind of a very nice tactic that you can use against less experienced pilots in PvP. Well, I'm slowly, or should I say, the Rattlesnake is slowly approaching me, so that's lovely. Very soon the Rattlesnake will be within... I mean, I can already fire, I can already shoot. I just don't want to get criminal timer unless I have scrambler on the Rattlesnake. But I think I might open fire a bit earlier, and also have the Bastion module, which I'll be using today as well. That Bastion module is pure gold. It's like, it makes your battleship like a mini dreadnought. Extra repair, basically 100% extra armor repair, is already kind of ridiculously high. And Bastion module is engaged. Now I cannot warp, which is not a big deal. The cycle time is not that bad. Scrambled and wept, and now the Ralsink has been scrambled and wept by my ship. I also have 2 large Nosferatus, which I would actually say might feel like overkill, but this ship is designed to fight versus vast majority of it's designed to fight against multiple ships. Not meant for 1v1, but it can easily do 1v1, but it is meant to tank a lot of ships, and it's meant to tank a lot of DPS, which it can actually do really well. Dual adaptives and a damage control. And one thing, it is capacitor stable, by the way, with all 3 repairs active. I also plan to enhance the capacitor stability with some integrations that I might steal from the Battlegorn, or I might just buy new rigs and add to this ship. But yeah, a capacitor stable with 3 repairs, I'll take it. I mean, a 1 armor repair repairs like 3, since I repair like 5,000 armor per repair. Minimum, I think that's like the minimum value. I have also enhanced that. And with the nanocore, it will be doubled minimum, so maybe we're looking at 12,000 armor repaired every cycle per 1 repair, by the way. I have 3 and I'm capacitor stable with that, so yeah. This is a very, very, very lovely ship. I think the next bomber that I'll buy will be the Abaddon, since it has neutralizer resistance, which I believe is going to be really fun. You basically cannot kill the capacitor on that thing. It's a very interesting ship, to say the least, and definitely going to be the next ship that I'll be using. And the Ralsing decided to shoot at me. That's fine. The drones are still there. My friend had to warp, since the drones, not the drones exactly, but the Ralsing did do some damage, and here I was actually kind of worried that the Ralsing might burn away, since I have 1 web, the Ralsing has 2 webs, so technically they slow me down more than I slow them down, which does mean that they have a chance to slip away. So the RB needs to return to hold the Ralsing so that I can... I mean, I'm here to basically tank the damage, and 1 armor repair and I'm already
we're under attack.
Tanking the Ralsing. It's kind of funny. I mean, I have 2 more repairs that are not doing anything, and I am not going to use them at the moment, since I don't really need to use them. Might save the capacitor for the case where I actually need them. But 1 armor repair, more than enough to hold the Ralsing, to hold the DPS coming from the Ralsing. I think the Ralsing might be a tanky build. Didn't seem like they have a lot of DPS. I mean, I can still tank the Ralsing with 1 repair. At best 2 repairs in some instances, but I'm still capacitor stable with all 3 active, so I'm really not worried. And the tank is also really good. I think it's 85 minimum on all damage types. Maybe higher, since I have the thermocirculation implant active. Around 88-90%, something like that. I mean, I can easily just bump up the resistance even more if I feel like it. Just lose 1 repair, add 1 adaptive or reactive, and that will also do the job, and still will retain a crazy amount of tank with the repairs. So overall, I'm very happy. Actually, not sad anymore that I sold the navies, because this thing tanks more than a navy. The navy has the resistance, this thing has repairs, and honestly, the Bastion module, the Citadel module, makes tanking this much more fun than a navy. Absolutely outperforming navies when it comes to tank. There's just no other way around it. And my capacitor is in a fantastic shape, which is again very good. The Rattlesnake is slowly slowly going down. I mean, I have some... This is actually some very nice alpha with my blasters here, considering the fact that I have no DPS on this ship since it's pure tank. So 10,000 off, I'll take it. I'm not going to complain at all. That's really good. That's really solid. And the Ralsing has been destroyed. That was honestly enjoyable. And we got a shield generator. Isn't that lovely? I have been looking for one. Didn't want to buy one for the market. Thought it would be too expensive. Now I got one for free. Lovely. My cells will enjoy the shield generator now. Will be fun to test that module out. And that's how you get free modules. I mean, you just have to find the right ship to destroy, and yeah, that's what happens. That was good. That was funny. That was fun and funny at the same time, since one armor repair was enough to tank the Ralsing. Now they did have a tank build. Well, tanky build does seem to be tank fitted. Not exactly a bad, but not exactly a good build. So not going to say much about that. Not what I would use on the Ralsing. That's for sure. But that was fun, and that was a good catch. Definitely nice to find a shield generator just laying around inside that Ralsing. And salt, so of course, salt. I still don't understand salt in low sec. I mean, there's like 70 different warnings when you enter low sec that it's a free-for-all area basically. The game warns you that you can get destroyed by other players, and you know, players confirm that they are entering that. So yeah, there's no one else to blame but the pilot if their ship gets yeeted in low sec by pirates. Now, this is going to be a fun one. There is a Raven. Now my nose immediately smelled bait. I mean, the Raven was here for a very, very long time and they haven't been doing much. I smell a bait. No problem. I mean, I'll take the bait. This is why I actually got the ship. It's a very good ship for a bait moment, since it's designed to take the bait quite easily. Now, one little fun fact though, when I warped in, you could see the Raven starting to actually attempt to warp. They did not want to fight the Hyperion bomber. That's what I initially thought, but eventually, yeah, obviously it was a bait to skirmishes, a web, and a target painter. Okay, no problem. No problem. I'm going to approach, and this is where things will get quite funny. Just pay attention to what's warping in. Now the Raven is... oh, there we go. There is a trainer, a Thrasher trainer, and initially I thought to myself, well, what the hell am I watching here? And you might be also wondering, what the hell is this? What the hell is going on here? And if I have to be absolutely honest with you, I have absolutely no idea. But yeah, that's actually a Thrasher trainer and a Caracal trainer. I don't know if it's like alts or different players. I have absolutely no idea. But all of these ships are apparently designed to be bait in one way or the other. So I'm still kind of confused. What the hell am I seeing here? And I have no idea what's happening, but in any case, I got jumped by a bunch of trainers and a Raven. Oh well, one repairer will do the job. I'll just drop the drones on the Thrasher. The drones can easily eat the ship alive. One of my repairers is going to be more than enough to just absorb all the damage, or should I say repair all the damage. And I was wondering at this moment, did they really think that a Raven, a trainer cruiser and a trainer battlecruiser, a trainer destroyer are enough to destroy a Hyperion bomber? That's what I was thinking while fighting here. Did they really think that that kind of bait is going to be enough for this ship? I'm still confused, and I'm still thinking, did they really think that's going to work? I don't know. I mean, I have as many questions as you have right now. In any case, both the annoying small ships have been yeeted. They have been removed just, to remove distractions. The two trainers were honestly just distraction. The primary target remained the Raven, of course. And one repairer is definitely more than enough. They still have the skirmishes weapon painted on my ship, but they are shooting at the RB rapid missiles, so that's kind of funny to think about. I expected them to lift the painter and drop the painter on the RB to apply damage better, but apparently that painter is reserved for my ship for some odd reason. And the Raven is slowly losing shield. I'm using the implant, of course. Did think to leave the implant without, did think to just leave the implant to use it for tank, but honestly, I don't really need any extra tank at the moment. Might as well go for extra DPS, shotgun mode as I like to call it, with the thermal circulation here, and I'm also taking a little bit range. Don't want to be literally at 0, since still tracking is a thing. Even though I have enhanced tracking with the Citadel module, with the Bastion module, I still want to fight in the optimal range, which is about 9 kilometers. That's where I will. That's the distance that I'll stop the ship. My capacitor is in flawless shape. One repair was working. I only needed one repair. Honestly, it's still hilarious that I still have 2 repairs that I haven't touched yet. I don't know if I'll ever need to use more than one repair on this ship. There are probably going to be moments where I get jumped by 50 ships or something where I will use all 3, but for now, one repair did the job just fine. And well, the Raven was destroyed, and I have no idea what just happened here. That was the weirdest bait that I've ever seen, probably one of the weirdest baits that I've ever seen. I expected, if it were like 3 Ravens or something, I can still tank that with that. If it were 3 Ravens, I might have used 2 repairs at best. I can still tank all that with 2 repairs. The third one is, in some cases, but I don't think that I'll ever use 3 repairs on the ship. In any case, that was honestly fun. My friend and I we were both quite confused at what the hell just happened and what the hell that was. But I love the ship. The Hyperion bomber, the Marauder, is really good, and the tank is exactly what I expected. And this is like the cheap build still. I think it's still relatively cheap. So from this point on, this ship will just get tank here and tank here. And I just cannot wait to see what the final tank and build on this thing will look like. And of course, the Raven that was baiting was salty. Of course, they have been. Why am I even surprised? And actually, I'm a little bit surprised. They obviously set up a bait, and they set up a bait to destroy our ships. So they accept the risk in losing their own ship, but when they do lose the ship to our ships, to our fleet, they complain about it. I don't understand that. Coming with a purpose for PvP and then complaining when you lose the ship in PvP, I think that's kind of counterproductive. I think that's really counterproductive, and I don't know.